Good evening, and welcome to the Crown Hill Journey. I'm your guide, settled on that word, for the Crown Hill Journey, and I'm also the author of the book, Crown Hill, a novel of love, life, and the afterlife. So I'm very excited because we are now into the final 11 chapters of this book, and this is my favorite part. So I look forward to sharing this with you tonight. Just to summarize a little bit, because I know we have new people with us, and also reading a chapter a night is a little hard. You can get disoriented in what happened last night. So what happened last night was that we followed Meg. She woke up disoriented. She felt foggy. She couldn't figure out why. She then tried to straighten out her brain, as we all have those mornings, but it wasn't working. So she decided to do something. She has a to-do list, having just moved in a house. If you have ever moved, you know what that's like. There's a long list of things to do. She decides to tackle the outside. She thinks possibly the rhododendron bushes need to be trimmed. So she needs to find her tools. She doesn't have much, but she brought a few tools with her. And when she tries to remember where she put them when she moved in, she realizes that they're in the barn. She heads down to the barn behind the house, and as she gets there close, all of a sudden there's something that forces her back, will not allow her to move forward toward the barn, instead diverts her over to the side of the barn where the shed is, in the shed where Mary Southwick died. We know, because we get to hear the conversations between Crown Hill and Mary at the end of each chapter, that the reason that Meg was not allowed to go to the barn and was diverted to the shed was that Mary has made it her mission in life to make sure that Meg is aware of Mary's presence in the house. She firmly believes that Meg has the power and the ability to help her pass. So that's what happened. Mary moved Meg toward the shed. Meg followed. She opened the door. She stepped inside, and we were left with the vision and the sound of Meg coming backwards and screaming loudly out of the shed, and we don't know why. So that's where we are starting this evening. So let's get to it. I'm dying to know what happened, aren't you? Glasses? Bailey's tonight. It's a Bailey's night. It's Monday. Yum. Crown Hill, a novel of love, life, and the afterlife. Book 3, Meg, Chapter 9. Goldie was off in a field, following the scent of a mole, when she first heard her mistress's frightened cries. The loyal dog quickly ran toward the sound of the ear-piercing shrieks to see her owner running from the shed toward the house. Barking in pursuit, Goldie stretched her stride to catch up with Meg, finally reaching her at the edge of the picket fence walkway. "Oh, Goldie, I'm so glad to see you. You have to come with me. We're going in the house right now." The obedient dog followed on the heels of her owner as they passed under the archway and through the back door. Meg headed immediately to the phone and dialed 911. "Emergency services. What's your emergency?" came the professionally unemotional voice. "I need someone to come to my farm. I need help." Replying with practiced patience, the dispatcher continued, "Okay, ma'am, just stay calm. Let's start with some information. What's your name and location?" Annoyed by what she deemed the responder's patronizing attitude, Meg shot back, "My name is Margaret Flynn. My address is 1396 Sandrock Road." "Okay, now what seems to be the problem, Mrs. Flynn?" "It's Ms. Flynn, and the problem is there's some kind of a wild animal in my shed. I went in there to look for something, and it leapt out at me, hissing and growling. For all I know, it's some rabid, crazy creature that could hurt me or kill my dog. You have to send someone up here. You have to do something right away." The panic in Meg's voice let the dispatcher know that the call was not a prank. Still, he found the nature of the emergency somewhat amusing. All righty there, Miss Flynn. When this animal leaped out, did it land on you or injure you in any way? No, no. I was able to jump back and avoid it. And then I ran out of the shed and slammed shut the door so it couldn't escape. It's trapped in there, and you have to send someone up here so it can be captured. I have a dog. I don't want anything to happen to her. Okay, Ms. Flynn, just take it easy. I'll have one of the animal control officers head up to your place. Being that it's Sunday, it might take a bit before I can locate one of them, so you just sit tight. Don't go back to that shed until somebody gets there, okay? Meg could almost hear the chuckle in the dispatcher's voice as he issued the directives. What she wouldn't give to see his face when that animal control officer captured the dangerous wildlife lurking in her shed. Fine, but please tell them to hurry. I don't want this animal to somehow escape and be free to roam around. Yes, ma'am, I'll do my best. You have a good day now. Even though the dispatcher had already hung up, Meg shouted at him through the phone. Yeah, you better do your best. You do not want to have to deal with me if you don't. Slamming down the receiver, Meg realized that she was trembling, and in fact suddenly felt the red spread tingle in her feet. Oh no, she thought. What if I pass out? That would be all I need for the rescue squad to have to come in addition to an animal control officer. That son of a gun dispatcher would have a field day telling everyone in town if that happened. Attempting to avert such embarrassment, the overwrought woman chided herself. Okay, Meg, just walk around. Walk around the house for a few minutes, take a couple of deep breaths, get a grip. You know the drill. With Goldie trailing in confused concern, Meg followed her own advice. In moments, the red spread tingling passed. Determinedly, she moved to the kitchen sink for a glass of water. Taking small sips, the shaky woman reviewed the events of the past hour, trying to figure out why they felt linked to her already murky mindset. Mid-thought, she was interrupted by the sound of a diesel engine in her driveway. Moving to the back door, Meg saw a large dually truck parked at the end of her walkway and a man alighting from the driver's side. It took only a moment for Meg to realize it was the guy from the superfine parking lot. Oh, darn, what was his name? More importantly, what was he doing at my house? And did I bother to comb my hair and brush my teeth this morning? Running her hands through her unruly curls, Meg straightened her t-shirt and put on her best smile as she stepped out the door. Hello. The word had no more than left her mouth when Goldie flew past her owner toward the approaching man, wagging her tail in full welcome. Hey, Goldie. How are you, girl? Come here and let me give you a big old pat on the head. As man and dog easily engaged, Meg was reminded of their superfine parking lot meeting and how the two became fast friends. It was a scenario that Meg was not overly happy to witness again. Breaking away from his love fest with her dog, Brady Callahan looked up at Meg and broke into one of his impossibly charming smiles. Well, we meet again, Miss Flynn. How are you today? Or perhaps I should say, how are you doing now? Unsure of his meaning, Meg chose to turn the question around on the smug man. Regardless of how I'm doing, what brings you to my home? She knew she sounded rather curt, but there was something about this guy's self-assured charm that made Meg nervous, uncomfortable. I'm here because you called me to come. Well, you're mistaken somehow. I don't even have your phone number to call you, nor do I even remember your name. Meg knew she had just passed from curt to crabby, but she really didn't care. This guy was getting under her skin, and she didn't like it. Well, you may not have telephoned me directly, but I did receive a call from Joe Henry, the town dispatcher. He gave me your name and address and said that you reported a rabid animal attack. Actually, he said you sounded on the verge of hysteria and he wanted me to get up here as fast as I could. You mean you're the animal control officer in town? Meg knew the answer to her question, but was hoping against hope for a different reply. Actually, I'm the emergency ACO. It's not really my job. I just volunteer to cover some of the weekend and late night shifts so that the other officers can have time with their families. Oh, perfect, Meg thought. Not only was the guy handsome, he was good-hearted as well. And by the way, my name is Brady. Yeah, Callahan. Meg finished the man's words, recalling his name as soon as he started to speak. Right, Callahan. Nice to know that I'm not completely forgettable. Now, let's get to the reason I'm here. Where is this rabid, wild animal? I didn't exactly say that it was a rabid, wild animal, Meg quickly countermanded the sure-willed man. Somehow, in his calming presence, the whole incident seemed a bit less intense, making Meg feel slightly foolish. But none of that discounted the fact that the incident had happened, and there was some kind of a crazed animal in her woodshed. I stepped into the woodshed out back by the barn, and I heard this wild hissing and growling coming from the back corner. It was really dark in there, and having stepped inside from the bright sunshine, I couldn't see all that well. I stood for a moment and waited for my eyes to adjust. In that moment, the hissing and growling intensified, and without any provocation, I felt this swell of air move toward me. Out of the darkness, I made out the image of a large, furry animal leaping at me, eyes bulged, teeth bared, as if it wanted to shred my throat. Obviously, I didn't wait around to give it that opportunity. I ran out of the woodshed, slammed the door shut, and called the police for help. And here we are. Appearing respectfully interested, Brady opened an official-looking notebook and began filling out a form. Let's begin with the required information. Name? Margaret Flynn. Really? I didn't know that Meg was short for Margaret. Does anyone call you by your full name? The unexpected personal question caused Meg to answer without reserve. Only my mother ever called me Margaret, mostly when I was in trouble. The genuine reply caused the two to laugh in shared acknowledgement. Yeah, when my mom was angry with me, I got the full name treatment as well. Brady, Michael, Patrick, Callahan, she would shout at me. For some reason, when she did that, it made me laugh. And that made my mom even more angry, which made me laugh more. It wasn't that I disrespected her. It was just that she looked so sweet when she was trying to be so stern. I couldn't help but be tickled. Do you have more names to go along with Margaret? The unaffected nature of his question again kept Meg from putting up her defenses. My full name is Margaret Rose. It's a family name. I'm not sure from which side, though. My mom never talked much about family, so I don't know very much about my history or heritage, other than that I'm Irish. Obviously, I can relate to the Irish part, Brady answered in easy patter. But my family is big on history and our ancestors, and I know quite a bit about my family's genealogy. Anyway, back to the official questions. Finishing up the required information, Brady asked Meg to show him the woodshed. You might want to put Goldie in the house, just to keep her safe while we deal with whatever is down there. At least he's respectful of the experience, Meg thought, as she led her distrusting pet into the house. Goldie did not want to be left out whatever was about to happen with Brady Callahan. She tried her best to wrest herself from Meg's firm grasp, to no avail. As Goldie barked in protest, Meg firmly shut the back door on her pet and set off to the woodshed in step with Brady. As the two stood before the rusty latched door, Meg could feel that tingly feeling in her feet. Oh no, please, not now, she silently begged her body. Don't let the red spread happen here and now in front of Brady. Come on, girl, you can control this. Meg, you okay? You're looking kind of red. Yeah, sure, I'm fine. Let's just get the door open and catch this thing, whatever it is. Brady carried with him a sturdy net attached to a long pole, a pair of thick, oversized leather gloves, and a helmet with a face mask. Donning the protective gear, Brady told Meg to stand over to the side of the woodshed. Lifting the latch and letting the door swing open, the practiced animal trapper stepped just inside the small building. Standing perfectly still, he allowed his eyes to adjust to the darkness. Watching him intently, Meg waited for the wild animal screeching to begin. She also found herself wondering, if Brady were attacked, would she run to his aid or run to the house? Annoyed with her girlish mindset, Meg admonished herself, "Come on, woman, get some backbone and be ready to help this man if he needs it." Meg's resolve was immediately tested as howling cries ricocheted out of the woodshed. She wanted to yell for Brady to be safe, but everything happened too quickly. One minute she could see the sturdy man standing in the woodshed doorway, and the next he was swallowed up in the dark echoes of the screeching animal. Then, silence. Meg's gut twisted in fear as she neither heard nor saw any life from within the woodshed. Regardless of her fear, she moved forward to try and verify that Brady was all right. Forcing each step, Meg approached the doorway and softly called, "Brady, Brady, are you okay? Do you need help?" Her answer came as the helmeted and gloved man emerged from the darkness. In his protected grasp, he carried an old wooden crate. Looking inside, Meg saw the object of her fears, a snarling mother cat and her 5 baby kittens. Mary was despondent. She had held such hope for connecting with Meg once the inquisitive woman entered into the woodshed. While I identified with Mary's dejection, I was also enlivened by all that the woodshed had kindled between Meg and Brady. It had been many years since sparks of romance had flickered around me, and while they were far from in love, the attraction between Meg and Brady was undeniable. It was that breath of new life and love that I broached to Mary. "My sweet, come close and let us share kind words, soothing feelings. I know you are hurt, but there is much goodness in this day as well. Let us be together as we have long done. Let us be for each other." Dear Crown Hill, it is true. I am disappointed that Meg and I did not bond. It seemed as if the circumstance was perfectly designed. But I have faith that my time is near. I will continue to remain a gentle force within Meg's world and await her awareness. As we joined and shared our innermost thoughts, I was fully reminded that soon these tender moments would be no longer. Beloved Crown Hill, what troubles you? I can feel the oppressive sadness within you, and it influences my spirit as well. Talk to me. Tell me, what is it that cloaks you in such sadness? Kind heart, I am challenged to explain the gloom that you feel within me, other than to tell you that no matter when your spirit passes, I will always hold a special place for you, a place of deepest love and devotion, never changing, never ending. And should you return to this world, know I will recognize your heart, no matter the appearance of your person. I will be yours always and forever. With that comforting thought, Mary and I settled into the approaching summer's eve, ignoring all we knew would soon transpire, reveling in all that we felt in the here and now, and at peace within that place. I know, it's between a house and a spirit. What about it? It makes it a love story, but it is so, they are so connected and so loving of one another, right? This is my favorite part of the book, in case you haven't figured that out yet. We have 10 days left to read 10 chapters, and it is my favorite part. Someone asked me last night about if Meg was basically me, if I held the same traditions and ideals about family and love as Meg. And usually I answer for any of you who ask me a question online, for any of you who message me, and please do so. I'm happy to have this conversation. But I always answer people right away because I'm by myself and I love the interaction. Let's talk about the realities of COVID-19, right? But I have not answered this woman. I wanted to think about that answer. And what I decided, what I felt like I wanted to share, I had an uncle who was a sports broadcaster and a sports writer. And when I first started writing, I'm not trained. I didn't go to school. My family had no concept of me being a writer. But when my uncle started to hear about my newspaper columns, he said to me, I have one piece of advice for you. Write what you know. Write what you know. So when I wrote Crown Hill, I had been given the story of Mary. I researched and found the story of Edward. But how did they come together into a story that would be appealing to you? That was more of interest to someone who lived in the house, yes, but why would you care? That was the third book, which is where we are now with Meg. And that was the part that was fiction. It was totally fiction. There is no historical framework aside from some of the details, but as far as the characters. And so I did what my uncle told me to do. I wrote what I knew. And so, yes, I would say Meg is very much me. She comes to the house in 1995 starting over. And that was exactly my life at the time. And when we finish this book, we will have a talk back with myself and Candy Donaldson Thornton, who was the medium who helped me with this book. And I will elaborate more and tell you that story, which is great fun for anyone who's read the book or followed along as you were doing. So thank you for joining me tonight. I'm always so honored that so many of you come back and listen again. Also, if you didn't hear last night, I have put all the episodes up until now, all the readings, onto YouTube. So just go to my YouTube page, just go to YouTube, Christina Apt, and there is a Crown Hill page there now. It's a special playlist. And everything up until last night is there, and you can listen to it in order if you've missed some, if you really want to go back and listen to it all again, whatever makes you happy. And feel free to share these links with people and encourage them to listen as well. 2/3 of the way through. I'm sad. I'm getting sad already. We only have 10 chapters to go, but I promise you they are the best 10, at least from my perspective. So thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I look forward to all of us gathering again tomorrow night at 7:30.